of course, Hiren, I've known Hiren for the last 3 years, for my early career in P&G, and a couple of my colleagues have done business with him. In the last 3 years, a couple of things, really, we've done some property deals together. He has made a couple of trips to Nigeria, where he has come to share, of course, the talk about the property market, and introduce a lot of Nigerians to the property market. I see Anita on the call, so I know, Anita, you're pretty familiar with that because you have done this investment. But here, Hiren is back here, as I invited him because we know the opportunities that continue to exist in the Nigeria market with the inflation, devaluation, unfortunately, of the currency. We understand the importance of investing wisely, and sadly, based on the situation with our passports, we know the need for, I know there's a lot of demand for people getting citizenship. So one of the things Hiren is going to, these are the two things Hiren is going to be talking about today, really. Talk about the citizenship and the real estate market, the various countries that are available to individuals to get citizenship by investment or what have you. So please, thank you all for coming. Please, I hand over to Hiren to share this with us. And later on, I'll share my story. So buckle up your seatbelts and enjoy the conversation. Over to you, Hiren.
Thank you very much, Oju. And I'd like to thank everybody to start with for attending today. It's good to see so many names on there of people who have been to my previous webinars, as well as my seminars when I've been down in Nigeria as well. So thank you very much, firstly, for your continued support and for always being there. So today, we're going to cover a couple of key areas. And with the agenda, we're going to be talking about who is Legacy. We're going to be talking about passport and the world rankings in 2023. A little bit about citizenship versus residency, the Caribbean islands versus the European citizenship, UAE golden visa through real estate, the most popular program for 2023 and the reasons why, UK property, and more specifically, we're going to talk about some of our new launches that we currently have at the moment. And we're going to then go over back to Oju, who's going to tell you a little bit about her property investing into the UK and how she's found them. And then finally, we'll get back to some Q&A. Now, please do save any of your questions until the end, but please do fire across any questions that you'd like to ask, and we'll be more than happy to try and answer them at the end. So I'll start by telling you a little bit about myself. So my name's Hiren Naker, and I'm the Managing Director for Legacy Investment Consultancy. I've been based in Dubai for the last 12 years, and I manage and look after clients in the Middle East and the Africa region. I work with individuals and family offices throughout these particular regions, and I'm specializing in helping clients to build their property portfolios for their future, as well as for their legacy and succession planning. I also provide exceptional turnkey investments and a full service consultancy to international investors globally. So a little bit about who is Legacy and what do we do? Well, first and foremost, we're headquartered in the UAE, and we've also got offices in the UK and Spain. Legacy's team has over 10 years industry experience advising upon UK residential property investment opportunities, as well as citizenship and residency programs to investors globally. We offer our clients a diverse portfolio to help them to tap into the UK property market, as well as the citizenship and residency programs, helping our clients to build a legacy with their portfolios. We deliver a trusted service to our clients across the Middle East, Africa, Far East that fully integrates the opportunities that we introduce. And we place our clients at the heart of our business, a reputation that has actually built us a loyal investor following globally. So a little bit about Legacy to start with. In terms of Legacy is our main, Investment Solutions is our main company. And then underneath there, we have Legacy UK Properties, where we help clients to build residential property portfolios in key areas such as Manchester, Liverpool, Birmingham, London, and any other major cities where we see an investment opportunity for our clients to be able to make good capital appreciation and high rental yields. We then have Legacy Citizenship, which has worked very well and hand in hand with Legacy UK Properties due to our client banks in Africa, India, the Middle East, and the Far East. And that specializes in citizenship and residency programs with 14 governments from around the world. And then finally, we have Berkshire Hathaway, Gulf Properties. Now, we've partnered exclusively, and we are the exclusive partners for Berkshire Hathaway for all Dubai and Gulf real estate, which we have done with Africa, India, and the Middle East and the Far East. Now, Berkshire Hathaway, yes, Warren Buffett's company, Berkshire Hathaway, is the one that we work very closely with. So the reputation speaks for itself in terms of the name. So as a company, basically, we've been experienced since 2011, having worked with clients globally and in 4 continents from around the world: Africa, Middle East, Far East, and Europe, where we have clients either for UK properties or for citizenship and residency programs. And we offer a full service, no matter which service you take from us. We offer the full start to finish by hand-holding all of our clients through the whole process. So today I'm going to start with some very interesting statistics that I came across over the last few weeks. And we're going to talk to start with about the world's most powerful and least powerful passports in 2023. So basically, depending on your passport, travel can be as simple as booking a flight, finding a hotel, and then simply just going. But for many across the world, it's not that easy. And a number of passport holders need to obtain a travel tourist visa prior to arrival. These visas typically require approval from the destination country's government that can sometimes take weeks, sadly, even months to apply for. Japan, as an example, can basically visit 193 countries without pre-approval. And that literally is virtually every country on earth. Sadly, Nigerian passport holders, on the other hand, can only visit 46 countries with the same level of ease. Over the next few slides, we're going to use data which determines the number of countries to which a passport holder has visa-free access. So as you can see from here, this is the top 20 most powerful passports in the world. Japan and Singapore for a number of years have been the most powerful and the number 1, and they can actually access 193 countries without applying for any visas. Then you've got Portugal and UK at number 6th place, and then finally Norway. And these are actually the top 20 countries in the world that have ease of access to be able to travel around the world without having to constantly apply. Then on the other hand, there's other rankings as well in the middle. So you've got the US in number 7, but countries like Greece and Malta and United Arab Emirates are between 8 and 16. Then we've got countries like St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Vincent, Antigua, St. Lucia, Grenada, and Dominica at 31, 32, 33, and 34th place in ranking. And they've done very well over the last few years. But sadly, where there are winners, there are also losers. And these countries are actually the least powerful countries in terms of access for passports. So China, which everyone would have thought would have had the most amount of access, actually can only access 81 countries around the world without applying for visas. Kenya is going further down. Then you've got India, surprisingly to most maybe. But there we've got Nigeria, which sits at number 98, sadly, where you can only access 46 countries around the world. And then you've got Afghanistan right at the bottom at the 110th place, which can only access 27 countries without applying for a visa. So very, very limited. So when it comes to the most powerful passports, most of the top 20 are issued by countries in Asia, Europe, and with the exception to New Zealand and the United States. Due to multiple ties in the rankings, the US technically ranks at number 17, having visa-free access to only 187 countries, on par with Norway, New Zealand, and Switzerland. However, due to worldwide taxation for US passport holders, we've seen an increase in the number of US passports being renounced, as they don't intend to return back to the US, but they also don't want to carry on paying tax on worldwide income if they're not going to live in the USA, which makes complete sense. And when it comes to the least powerful passports, many of the least powerful passports come out of war-torn and politically unstable nations, as visas for travel are typically required to counter illicit activity. And these nations are often flagged whether it's justly or not. One immediate standout among the least powerful passports is actually North Korea. The insular nation has visa-free access to only 40 countries, ranking it about 8 from the bottom in countries it can basically visit. Now, what about the biggest gainers and losers over the last 10 years? And this is very, very interesting when I saw these statistics on this, that just over the last 10 years, how many countries have actually managed to gain visas and additional visas in countries. But also it was sad to see some of the countries that have actually lost access to countries. So from a big picture point stand of view, the world travelers have seen their access improve significantly over the last 10 years. And as an example, if you're a UAE resident, a UAE passport holder, your prospects for visa-free travel have actually improved by over 100 countries over the last decade alone. That's phenomenal. And when you take a closer look at these countries, you can see the United Arab Emirates, the UAE, is #1 at the moment. It's got access to over 106 countries in the last 10 years. But interestingly, St. Vincent, Dominica, Grenada, St. Lucia, just some of the countries that we offer passports and citizenships from, have actually gained quite a lot as well in terms of the amount of access visa-free. And this is why they're becoming very, very popular programs for clients to be able to access. But then also, when you've got winners, you also have negative and the losers as well. And as you can see on here, in the last 10 years, Nigeria sadly lost out on 2 additional countries of visa-free access. Now, the question a lot of my clients, and I ask a lot of my clients is, well, over the next 10 years, would you expect to see that -2 become even more negative? Or would you see that becoming positive and maybe getting more access to countries? If history has shown over the last 10 years, it's actually been negative. So it's always a question to see where is the next 10 years going to go. Now, there's one question that I get asked by a lot of my clients globally is that, wait a minute, top 3 countries, who are they? Who's applying for residency and citizenship? Well, #1 country is Africa. And a lot of Africans are applying for citizenship and residency programs. And I believe that deep down, everyone knows why, because it is getting more and more difficult. India is the 2nd most popular in terms of citizenship and residency programs to be able to access globally. And then we've got Lebanon, interestingly enough, because obviously Lebanon's economy has heavily devalued and depreciated over the last few years. But in recent years, we've seen a huge increase in some very unusual countries, not all unusual, but we've got the USA as an example. A lot of people are renouncing their passports at the moment from the US because a lot of people are leaving the US. But when they're leaving, they don't want to pay tax because they live in Dubai or whether they live in another country. But as a US resident, you do pay global tax no matter where you live if you hold a US passport. And a lot of them do not like that idea. Russia, but for very obvious reasons, we've seen a huge increase in the amount of Russians looking for a different passport now. And thirdly, is China, because China also has very much difficulties in terms of accessing different countries to be able to travel visa-free and not having to keep on applying. Now that we've ascertained that, and that was just some general statistics that I really like to show clients in the beginning, just so it kind of opens your eyes. But now let's talk a little bit about legacy citizenship. What do we do? What is it we can do, and how are we helping our clients globally? Well, before we start that, I'd like to show you the history of citizenship by investment. Another keyword for it is CVI. And as you can see from this, the first ever program was St. Kitts in 1984. And after that, Dominica, Cyprus, Antigua, Grenada, they all came. And then Malta and Vanuatu in 2014. St. Lucia, probably one of the newest in the Caribbean islands, 2015-16, that came along. Montenegro is actually the newest one out there at the moment, which started in 2018. So I just always like to show my clients, because a lot of people are curious, when did citizenship and residency programs actually start? And there's a little bit of history there for you. So why would you choose legacy citizenship? Well, quite simply, we work with 14 programs that offer legal citizenship and residency through investments. With professionalism and the expertise of our team, we're able to deliver a unique and tailored solution to each and every client based on their requirements. We work with all over the world, helping investors and high net worth individuals secure their assets, families, and businesses. And legacy citizenship, we're not here in the business of sales. Rather, we're actually in the business of building relationships for our clients, okay? Why do most people obtain a second citizenship? Well, quite simply, visa-free travel to over 135 countries, including Europe, UK, and parts of Asia. There's no need to relocate or visit any of the countries. You can register assets with no restrictions, freely open companies and bank accounts, ease your business opportunities, avoid political and economical instability, enrich your children's education and healthcare. And for the real estate route, you can also return, you can get a return on investments of between 2 and 6% or 3 and 7%. You get the right to live in the UK for up to 6 months a year. Now, that is actually a very important one because a lot of people are trying to send their children now to the UK for education purposes. So this has become very important so the parents can freely travel in and out as many times as they want and not have to keep on applying for visas. Citizenship is also passed on to children and generations to come. There's no taxes on foreign income, capital gains, dividends, gifts, wealth, and inheritance. And when obtaining second citizenship, you are not required to renounce your current citizenship, and your home authorities will not be notified of your new nationality and passports, which is quite important to a lot of people. And finally, Grenada is the only Caribbean program where the citizens of Grenada are eligible for the E2 treaty investor visa with the US. Now, this is important for those that are looking to send their children to the USA, and also they might frequently want to travel down without having to keep on applying for new visas and potentially getting declined at some point. So that's why the Grenada is also important for them. So a little bit about the client proposition. Well, Legacy offers clients globally advice on a range of areas, including visa-free travel, access to 14 countries and jurisdictions on every budget, advice on the most suitable options based on individual client needs. Not everybody is the same, okay? And the entire process is handled for clients from start to finish with our full legal team that we have in place. Now, one thing that I get asked quite frequently is, what is citizenship and what is residency? Well, you've likely come across the terms residency or citizenship a lot if you're one of those looking to broaden your horizons internationally. While these words are often used interchangeably, they actually mean different and somewhat contradictory things. So what exactly is the difference between residency and citizenship? Well, I'm going to explain briefly now. So residency is the act of establishing and maintaining a residence in a given country. The right is usually for a specified amount of time and allows individuals to work, travel, or study in that particular nation. In terms of status, it means that you are no longer a tourist, but more like a legal alien. And while they can leave and return, they may be denied re-entry if they fail to fulfill any of the residency conditions, which could be anything from spending a certain amount of time in the country or having a job and accommodation there. On the flip side, citizenship is the status of membership and belonging to an actual state. Unlike residence, citizens get all the rights, privileges, and responsibility defined by the nation's laws. These include the right to vote, participate in politics, and receive education, as well as call upon the country for legal assistance and protection. Citizens can also apply to receive a passport from their country, and pass this right to citizenship onto their children. Citizenship is generally for a lifetime, and individuals do not have to fulfill any requirements to retain it, such as living or working in that country in question. Many nations also allow their citizens a second nationality too, which is called a dual nationality. Okay, so then let's talk about citizenship and residency by investment. What is that? Well, the traditional acquisition of citizenship usually centers around birth in a country, descent from a parent, marriage to a citizen, or neutralization. Citizenship by investment, CBI programs, however, allow applicants to gain a second passport by investing into the country. Okay, many of the best known CBI programs are based in the Caribbean islands, with Dominica ranked as the #1 in the CBI index over the last 4 years running. The island offers individuals the chance to gain Dominican citizenship in exchange for either a contribution to the government fund or investment into pre-approved real estate. And then on the other hand, you've got residency by investment. What is that? Well, while the standing route of residency of a country is to live and work there, residency by investment, RBI, schemes allow you to gain this by investing in it. Permanent residency to citizenship. So in the case of UK and the USA, as a permanent resident, you're generally eligible for neutralization after about 5 years of living there. This is the most common way that people apply to become a UK or a US citizen. To qualify, you must have lived in the UK or US continuously for 5 years, immediately preceding the date you file. And in the case of the US, the Form N400, application for neutralization, the Immigration and Nationality Act, and details of all the citizenship requirements for a 5-year permanent resident. Okay, so that is basically explaining the difference. If you wanted to do a citizenship by investment program, then that would apply to Dominica, Antigua and Barbuda, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, Malta, and Turkey. But if you want to do the European residency by investment, you can only choose Greece, Portugal, which I will touch on, but it is closing imminently. Spain's already closed, Switzerland, Italy. In contrast to citizenship by investment programs, most of these are from countries within the European Union, are typically referred to as the golden visa schemes. So now let's touch on the Caribbean versus the European programs. So these 5 programs here, St. Kitts, Dominica, St. Lucia, Grenada, and Antigua, these are basically by far the most popular programs that people tend to go for because it has the most advantages to them. The benefits of the Caribbean citizenship: visa-free travel to over 150 countries, plus the Shenzhen areas, the right to live in the UK for 6 months in a year, no tax on foreign income, wealth, and inheritance. There's no need to relocate or visit any of the countries. Obtain your passport in 3 to 6 months. And with the Caribbean, mostly within 3-4 months, we're being as quick as that. Have a plan B for your family, and no need to renounce your current citizenship. And return on investments can be anywhere between 3 to 7% if you go down the real estate route. To give you an idea, and I want to touch mainly here on the donation side of things because this is the most popular route that most people have gone down. If you went with St. Kitts as a single applicant, $133,000. If you went with a family of 4, $195,000. If you went down Dominica route, $134,000 for a single applicant, $219,000 for a family of 4. If you went down the Grenada route, $185,000 for a single applicant, $253,000 for a family of 4. And St. Lucia, most competitive out of them all, $120,000 for a single applicant and $168,000 for a family of 4. You can obviously do the real estate route if you wish, but a lot of people choose not to bother with that. And Antigua, the last one, single applicant, $163,000 and a family of 4, $176,000. So we've got an option for each of these particular countries. If you went down the real estate route, then basically we do work with the likes of the Park Hyatt, Kapinski, and Intercontinental Hotels. And basically you can buy your real estate route from there, and you potentially have the option of a buyback after about 5 years, but you can make a return on your investment in that meantime. Okay. If you went down the European residency route, Portugal was by far one of the most popular for many, many years because it offered the most amount of benefits, which I will briefly touch on. It is being cancelled at the moment, but if you are imminent, you may still be able to apply for it, but you literally have a window of maybe a month, maybe top end of 3 months to basically apply and get the process started. So I'm not hugely talking about Portugal nowadays because you've got to be very fast with that. But Greece is now becoming a little bit more popular as well. But just to touch on Portugal very quickly, the minimum investment was anywhere between 280,000 euros to 500,000 euros. If you went down the route of 280,000 euros, it was more a case of like a hotel return on investment. But I didn't think it was the most spectacular sort of investment for your money. You've got the freedom of travel within Shenzhen area. You have the right to live there, work and study in Portugal. You can eligible to apply for the citizenship after 5 years of residency, and your return on investment potentially could have been guaranteed. That scheme has now stopped, and you've got the buyback option if you went down the hotel route, basically. The Greece residency, if you wanted to go down that particular route, you're looking at euros minimum investment into the real estate alone. However, additional fees do apply for the passports and everything else, basically, okay? And the Spain one we're talking about because that has now completely closed. If you go down the European citizenship route, you've got Turkey and you have Malta. And very briefly to touch on it, Turkey, the real estate investment starts at $400,000. Bearing in mind that is just the real estate investment alone, not the application process for the actual passports and everything like that as well. That is all additional on top. And if you go down the Malta route, which offers you a lot of things, but the price is triple that of pretty much what you would have in Portugal. Starting prices are 960,000 euros minimum investment into Malta. So as you can imagine, not necessarily the most popular of programs. Now, I'd like to very briefly touch on the UAE Golden Visa through the real estate route. Okay, so first and foremost, why Dubai? Well, as one of the fastest growing cities in the world, Dubai boasts a thriving economy, an unrivaled property portfolio, and some of the best returns on property investment. There are a lot of things that make Dubai's property market so exciting, and here are just some of the key reasons why so many people are looking to invest or set up a business in Dubai. Some of the perks, well, you've got great weather, tax-free income, high standards of living, safety and security. I will emphasize on that, but safety and security has become something quite big that I've started noticing, especially for people who live in Africa, India, Europe, the US, because a lot of people are getting worried with the way the economies are going, the world is going, crime rates are shooting up, inflation rates, everything. So safety and security is a big reason why a lot of people are moving to Dubai now. It's got also world-class infrastructure. I'm sure many of you from Nigeria have at some point traveled into Dubai over the last 10 years and probably seen a huge boom in the way things have moved here. Competitive prices and rental yields. You've got a strategic location. It's easy access to almost anywhere around the world from Dubai now. And the airport here is so well infrastructured. Traveling has become so easy. From the minute you land, you get out, or when you check in, and then when you want to leave the country as well. And the economic growth and stability. Now, there is one more additional reason that I would like to basically show you, and that is the regulated market in Dubai. But before I go into that, I want to explain something, because I know there's many people on this particular webinar today that may have bought around 2006, 7, 8, 9, and 10, when we know that the Dubai real estate market had gone absolutely crazy. But what I would like to emphasize is this, that a lot of people lost money around that time. But Dubai was its infancy sort of stage. It was a very young, immature sort of market. But like any country around the world, people learn from their mistakes, because they cannot replicate that mistake over and over again. Because the next time that mistake ever happened, what happened in 2006, 7, 8, when people lost millions from around the world, nobody would ever have the trust and faith. So since then, Dubai's real estate market has been rated one of the most transparent in the Middle East and North Africa. And at the moment, the market is at a high point with no signs of slowing down. Through new and revised innovations and regulations, the government is improving market transparency more and more here in Dubai. Please do bear in mind, I've been here for 12 years in Dubai now, and I have seen drastic changes in the way things work here in Dubai, especially the real estate market here. If you'd asked me 5 years ago, would I invest into Dubai? My answer would have been completely hell no. Simply put, I would have said no. However, things have changed. I've seen a lot of changes and improvements, and how secure people's money is now when you do invest into real estate. But also, over the past few years, Dubai has become one of the world's most dynamic cities and has attracted investors from all over the globe. These factors create a plethora of opportunities for property investors looking to tap into Dubai's booming property market. So there are two key routes. However, there is a third new route of being able to get sort of citizenship and residency here in Dubai, should I say, not citizenship. But the first route, which is the one everybody knows about, is the Golden Visa, which means if you put up 2 million dirhams or $600,000 and buy a property, you can basically get the Golden Visa, which is valid for 10 years. You get the right to live, work and study in the UAE, visa-free travel to places like Maldives, Armenia, Georgia, Azerbaijan, Seychelles. But there's no visit required to maintain the Golden Visa, and it has the ability to open up bank accounts. There is a second option that's opened up, which is called the Investor Visa now, and that's been something fairly new and evolving at the moment, which means instead of putting in 600,000, you can put in as little as around $300,000 now, which is around 1 million dirhams or 1.3 million dirhams basically. But for that, you get a 3 to 5 year visa. That's if you buy it down the real estate route, basically. Okay. So those that don't want to strive for the 2 million or $600,000, there is a smaller option. But another very popular option has been the company formation route, which means you basically can set up a company here in Dubai for as little as around $20,000, and no requirements for physical office space, no requirements for annual audits, straightforward bank account opening process, ability to be able to do business locally without any restrictions, but also 100% ownership with service-based activities. If you went down the real estate route, these are just some of the major companies that we work with, which is developers, directly, not through agents, not through brokers. These are the developers that we work with directly to be able to access real estate. Okay, if you went down the UAE company formation type of route, no requirement for physical office space, no requirements for annual audits, straightforward bank account opening process, ability to be able to do business locally without any restrictions, 100% ownership with service-based activities, and the UAE residency can be obtained realistically within 4 weeks, I would say to most clients, but 3 to 4 weeks I've seen it happen quite comfortably. Now, a lot of people are asking me, so Hiran, which program do you recommend? Which is the most popular program for citizenship and residency programs for 2023? Well, it's St. Lucia at the moment. And here's some key reasons why. Well, the Citizenship by Investment Program in St. Lucia was established in 2015 under the Citizenship by Initiation Act, making it the newest program among the Caribbean islands. The program was designed to attract foreign investors through 3 different investment options, and is the only country that offers a government bond investment scheme. The time to citizenship comfortably we've seen between 3 to 4 months, but I always say up to 6 months. Visa-free travel to 146 countries. Passport ranking is number 29 in the world, which is very, very strong, especially for a Caribbean island. There's no residency requirements, no worldwide taxation or inheritance tax, and the citizenship program was established in 2015. As a country, just a bit of an overview for it. The capital is Castries. The population is about 165,000. The language spoken there is English and Creole French, which is similar to Mauritius, if some of you guys have been there or know about it. The currency is what we call the East Caribbean dollars. And $1 is about 2.7, which is not bad, it's pretty strong. And the government type there is parliamentary and the Commonwealth realm. Commonwealth realm meaning that's why you can travel to the UK for 6 months a year quite comfortably. Now, something very, very important. This is an example of what I did for a client a couple of months ago in Nigeria. And this is as an example for a family of 4, okay? Now, there's something very, very important that I want to speak to you about on this bit is that I've spoken to a number of clients in Africa and India over the last few, let's say years, because realistically it has been, but more so over the last 6 to 8 months. And a lot of people said to me, well, Hiran, look, I've got somebody who's offering this for $130,000 or whatever it is. But this is what I interestingly found out, is that by the time you've made your first payment, which is in month 1 of $10,000, and some instances, your second payment in month 2 of around $40,000 to the other companies that are offering it for a lot less accordingly. When you come to your third payment, you've already paid $50,000, bear in mind. But what I found was that a lot of people were telling me that now all of a sudden, those companies that are trying to sell it for 120, 130, 140,000 or whatever silly figures it is, they then all of a sudden add on a lot of extra fees, costs and charges that you weren't aware of in the beginning. And by then, you've already paid this and this in the beginning. So now you're not going to stop and say, oh, well, scrap it. I'm not going to carry on with these guys. I'll just go ahead. But the reality is, this is what the total cost is. But we as a company are very open, very transparent. And those of you who have dealt with me in the past over the years know that I do very transparent figures and numbers. So there are no hidden costs and charges, because hidden costs and charges just lead to bad reputation. But as I mentioned earlier on in my slides, we're here to do long-term business with our clients, not just necessarily citizenship and residency, but hopefully future properties and other future investments. So we offer a very open, transparent, no hidden costs and charges sort of like a structure. If I say 160,000 to you, that is exactly what you will pay right up until the end. But this is how the payment structure works. And then by month 3, when you make your final payment, it's basically the final stages, and then your passport will be handed over to you. So processes and timelines. So our services begin with an initial evaluation that helps us determine the investor's requirements and eligibility for a second residency or dual citizen. Okay. From there, once understood by our team, we will suggest several programs that are suitable for the investor and provide them with the detailed information that will help in making an educated decision on which program you should go for. We will assist in preparing the application from A to Z, obtaining documents, translations, and legalizing documents necessary for the application. We have a full legal team and admin team in the back that do all of the processing and applications for you, okay? From there, application is then submitted to the government in order to start the due diligence process and verify the investor, which normally takes around, give or take, 90 days, depending on which program that you are going for. Government approves the application and prepares the certifications and neutralization and the passports. And the final step is a handover. Citizenship or residency card is obtained and handed over to the client. So guys, that is basically what we do on the citizenship and residency programs. It was a very quick overview today. And obviously when we do have the one-to-one meetings where we then determine a little bit more about your budgets, what your intentions are, what are your goals and what are you looking to achieve, I will then be able to sit down and go through which is the right program for you as a client. Now I'm going to go on to legacy UK properties because we've had some very, very exciting launches. I've had a lot of clients registering for this said, Hiran, please make sure you talk about your new launches. So I'm going to do that now for you. So the first development I'm going to speak about is our featured and probably our most exclusive development that we have. It's called Crown View and it's in Manchester. Now, any of you that know me, you know that I always speak about Manchester. It's probably one of my, basically it's my favorite city in the UK when it comes to investing into properties at the moment. And now I'm getting more and more fascinated with the whole of the northern region because we're seeing great investment opportunities coming out of there. But before I talk about Crown View, I'd like to show you why Manchester is the best city. So that's Manchester, just giving you a little bit of an overview of it. So the development in more detail now. So the development is Crown View, which is in Manchester. It's actually in the M4 postcode of Manchester. So it's a very, very prime location. This development has 275 units. One beds are starting at £275,000 now, 2 bedrooms at £340,000 and 3 bedrooms for £450,000. However, we do have an amazing payment plan for this, which I'll show you in a few moments. This will comprise of stunning 1, 2 and 3 bedroom apartments with access to ensuite amenities such as co-working space area, a residence bar and lounge, gym and yoga studios, private dining, tranquil crown gardens, landscape city gardens. And this is phase 1 of it, which is an off-plan development completing in Q1 of 2025. And I'm going to quickly show you this video on this actual development to give you an insight into what it looks like. So that was just a bit of an overview of what that looks like for Crown View. But one of the things I wanted to emphasize on here and show you was This is basically, if you get the front view, which is the riverside view, you can see the Manchester city centre, which is walking distance away, is right by the canals and riverside of Manchester, which makes it quite attractive for people to want to live there. Also down this, the reason I got this picture here is to show you that on the sides here, there will be coffee shops, restaurants, and other venues, all at the foot of basically this particular development itself. And the reason why this development has been so popular and why so many people love this is because it's a very unique sort of concept that we have. And I managed to get with the developer something called a payment plan. A lot of people that have dealt with, for example, Dubai will know what a payment plan and how it is. UK is almost impossible or very unusual. But this developer being forward funded has been able to do this. So let's use this as an example here. When I had apartments at 250,000, which sorry to say are completely sold out, but this gives you a good example. A 1-bedroom apartment, 550 square foot on the 7th floor, you would have paid a £2,000 reservation fee to secure the unit. Then 21 to 28 days later, you would do what we call the exchange of contracts with the solicitors and lawyers in the UK. You would then pay your first 5%, which would have been only £12,500. And you would have got your £2,000 reservation fee back as well. Then after 6 months, you pay another 5% of 12,500. And then March 2024, 6 months later again, you pay another 5%. And in September next year, you pay another £12,500 of 5%. And at the end, in Q1 of 2025, on completion, you pay another 5% of £12,500 if you wish to do so, because I am able to comfortably get 75% to 80% loan to values in the UK for people. So you could borrow up to 75 to 80%. But that payment structure there makes it so attractive and affordable for almost anyone looking to buy and invest into the UK property market. Here's another better example of a 2-bedroom, which has also been very popular, because when people look at the prices, they say, well, look, for about £4,000, £5,000 every 6 months more, I get a better apartment, which is a 2-bedroom. Rental yields are far higher on a 2-bedroom as well. So here's a good example. Starting price 336,000, 2-bedroom apartment, 750 square foot on the 4th floor. Again, £2,000 reservation fee now, 5% of £16,800 after 21 to 28 days. £2,000 will return back to you after that. Then 6 months later, in September this year, you pay another 5% of 16,800. March next year, another 16,800 at 5%. In September next year, the 16,800 at 5%. And finally, in Q1 of 2025 on completion, another 16,800 at 5%. And again, 75 to 80% loan to values for people in Africa. Not a problem at all. We're already doing it for our clients. So this is what makes this particular development extremely attractive for people to want to invest and buy into. Now, let me show you just some of the amenities within this particular development on this very last video, so you get an idea. So that, guys, is Manchester. Now onto our new launch, which we just launched last week, called Orderly House in Liverpool. This is a fantastic opportunity to get into the Liverpool market, because it is also very fast up and coming at the moment, but at a much lower pricing point than what Manchester current view is. So here's a little bit of information about Orderly House. It's in Liverpool city centre. As you can see from that image, it is a beautiful historic building, and they're going to be retaining the features of this to make it quite an iconic building in the Liverpool city centre itself. This development will consist of 199 units in total. Studio apartments are going to start at £150,000. However, that is for cash purchase only, because in the UK, it is very, very difficult to get mortgages on studio apartments. One bedroom is starting at £170,000 and two bedrooms are going to start from £250,000. It completes in Q4 of 2024, which is next year. So it gives you plenty of time to be able to get your deposits and everything all in arranged and everything. With this particular development, you can see the pictures on the side there. It's going to have extremely high quality finishing. It's going to be very luxurious sort of development. Stunning studio, 1 and 2 bed apartments with access to on-site amenities, such as prime city center location, state-of-the-art fitness and yoga studio, hotel-style concierge and reception area, open atrium area, coffee shop for the residents, landscape city garden podiums. Off-plan development completing in Q4 of 2024. No particular payment plan for this, but what I managed to secure was a pre-launch offer, which is you pay a 5% reservation fee now for the particular development. And then at the end of May, or in May sometime, so 2 months from now, you'll pay your next 25% down payment. And then on completion, next year, Q4, you'll pay 70% of the balance. But what makes this development also so attractive is that as long as you use the property developer's property management company, you can get a 7% rent assurance or a rent guarantee for 10 years. It's optional. You don't have to take it if you don't want to. And if you want to use your own property management company, but if you do, 7% rent assurance is very, very attractive for most investors. Gives you the peace of mind. Whether the apartment's rented or not, it does not matter. You will be getting 7% rent assurance regardless. Here's a few more pictures of what the interior of this is going to look like, and I'm sure you will agree it is of very high quality, and especially in a prime city center location. This makes this investment very, very attractive. And the kind of tenants that we would be expecting to get into here will be executives and working professionals that will live here, basically. And that's another picture of the outside, but more of the side and back view of what it will look like. Still hold this pretty much architectural look to it, but slightly modernized as well. And that's what the podium gardens will look like, where people will be able to sit and relax and enjoy as well. Now, I wanted to show you something very, very interesting on this. This is from rightmove.co.uk. You're welcome to go and see this, but this is one of the developments, and I found 3-4 developments that are currently ready and finished in this particular area. Now, if you look very carefully, this, it says, added on 17th of February of this year. This is a 1-bedroom apartment in Liverpool city centre, L3 postcode, so around the corner from where Audley House is. This one is selling for £270,000. So that's £100,000 above what the starting price of Audley House is. Here's another very good example. This is another apartment, 1-bedroom, L3 postcode. As you can see from the pictures, looks slightly old, a little bit dated, but this is still achieving £195,000 today. You're buying off plan and growing at 7%. You can see where the figures will go with this. Here's another third example of the L3 postcode. This particular apartment here as well, 1-bedroom. Basically, this was put up on the 1st of February. And if you look at the pictures, very old interior and dated, but it kind of gives you an idea. So look at the finishing of what we were showing you. Here's an example of a 2-bedroom. This was added on 13th of February this year. So that's a 2-bedroom. Interior finishing, not maybe as nice as Audley House, but it gives you an example. Here's another good example. This is a much, much higher floor, so I probably assume that this is what reflects on the price. But this is a 2-bedroom at £480,000 on an L3 postcode in Liverpool. Okay, so it kind of shows you what the market's looking like. This one is a townhouse already sold, so hence the reason why it's a little fogged out. But it kind of gives you an idea of what even a townhouse 2-bedroom sold for in the L3 postcode. So that was showcasing Audley House in Liverpool. I'd love to welcome some questions on this and meetings on this, because it is just a brand new launch. The apartments at £170,000 starting will not be around for long. So do jump on if you're interested in that. Now, as a company, very finally, this is the last slide. I'll tell you a little bit about our full turnkey solution. So once you basically message me and want to do a meeting, I will do an investment consultation, is then go through a little bit about what's your budget, finding the right city, right location, the right unit within what you want to spend. From there, we'll also introduce you to lawyers and solicitors in the UK that will help you to do the exchange of contracts. We will then introduce the UK-based mortgage lenders so that we can put a mortgage in place for you. We will also help with the full property management. So property will be tenanted, managed, and maintained. We will help you to open up UK bank accounts, and we will help you with FX services if it's dollars, euros, or something. Unfortunately, as you're probably aware, we can't touch the Naira at the moment, but everything else we can assist with. So on that, I would love to hand it over to Uju now, who will tell you a little bit about her story and her success in the real estate in the UK, working with me. Over to you, Uju.
Thank you, Hiren. Again, good evening, everyone. So I'll tell my story. I started this 2021. Really, it was a case of wanting to generate an additional source of income and something that will be able to withstand any currency fluctuations, devaluation. I'd had a baby in the US. That was 2014. While I was having my baby in 2014, I remember being in the US when traveling with dollar at 180, and in the middle of it, it rose to 200 and even 250, right in the middle of it. So I had to pay some bills at an exchange rate of 250, some at 180. That stuck. So come 2020, before COVID, I'd already started to change all my money to foreign currency. Come 2021, I reached out to a couple of my colleagues. Then I worked with Procter & Gamble, a couple of colleagues that were in Geneva then, and I just said, oh, I'm trying to do this, give me a contact. And that's how I met Hiren. Hiren's details were sent. We started to talk because a couple of them had bought from him, had done investment with him in the past. So he was in-house. He was our guy in-house. So that's how I established the relationship with Hiren. That was 2021. My first purchase of a property was in Birmingham. What I'm showcasing here is my first purchase. That was a property in Birmingham. I'll use this to tell the story, then I'll come back and talk to the Nigeria situation and the importance of us making this call. At the point of purchase, 2021 March, remember 2020 before COVID, the pound was at 500 Naira. Come 2021, the pound rose to 620. But I remember I made sure that thankfully before COVID, my family we started to change our currency to Forex. But at that point, at the point of purchase, the pound was 620. 620 to a pound, 620 Naira. So the first property we bought was 120,000 pounds. If you look at the currency, converted to 74 million Naira. The rental income from that property was 650 pounds a month from the property. Again, look at last year. I used this benchmarks just because it just shows how our currency has devalued and the impact on the investments we're making. Come October last year, the pound had risen to 810. You see the effects on in Naira, the uplift, and you see how my rental yield in the space of 1 year had also increased. Come March this year, this is just the picture today. The valuation of the property, you see how when Hiren makes reference to valuation of property 7% every year. If I look at the market, you see that it has actually risen faster. From 120,000 today, the property is valued at about 155,000 pounds. Exchange rate, our currency continues to devalue. It's currently at 920. Depends on the day, really. The pound, you can change at 920, you can change at 950, you can change at 900. I know it ranges between 900 and 950. But let's use a safe 920. Yeah. If I convert it back to Naira, look at the value of the property. Something that was bought at 74, it's 142. So if you're a Nigerian investor, the pound is definitely a good way to keep your money, because when you convert it back, you have more money. If you're a Naira investor, on the other hand, if you convert your money to pounds, it's like your value of your money is not really increasing, it's staying flat. The beauty about this is, while there has been a capital appreciation, right, of over 120% in the space of time, if I look at, there's also a rental yield, there's an increase in my rental income. One of the things is every 6 months we have a property manager. You don't have to worry so much. Guys, transparently, I've never seen any of my properties in the UK. All I've done it externally, remotely. Never seen. I travel to the UK, but I've just never had to go there because I have good property managers that make sure that everything, the wheels are turning. When Hiren makes reference to turnkey solution, that's what he's saying. Everything, you can be sure that the wheels are turning, even in whether you sit or you don't sit. But speaking to the rental increase, one of the things we do with the property managers is for me is every year actually we just send the property manager says it's time, this is what the value is in the market today. You agree what it is, what value you want to increase your rent, whether you want to add a £50, you want to add £100. Then they go back to the tenants and finalize it and come back to you and say this is what the new value of the rent is going to be. So this is what we have always done. So if you look at it every year, you see that there's an increase. Currently, something that was £650, currently £725. So there's a return on investment based off of the rental income of over 5%. I'm not speaking to the capital appreciation. Capital appreciation already on the property, it's over 120%. So this is one thing where you can continue to protect your finances from devaluation of the naira, irrespective of inflation. If anything, you continue to enjoy, because if for those that travel, if you're traveling, if you're doing anything, you have a stash of funds where you can say, oh, every time I travel, this is where I get my money from. So for us, the UK property market has been a positive. We've gone ahead to make further investment with Hiren. When Hiren makes reference to his love for Manchester, I understand that, because the property we have in Manchester, the rental yield is over £1,000 on a monthly basis. So I understand the love for Manchester. High demand for property, so you can be sure that while in Birmingham I can increase my rent by £50 every month, in every year, sorry, in Manchester your increase can be as high as £100. So I understand the love for Manchester. So when he makes reference to Crown View, I think the payment plan is just beautiful. Just going back to the Nigerian situation, if you look at how the currency has devalued, honestly, we know there is, whether it's rumor, but there's always a talk of hitting the 1,000. And if initially I was a Nigerian investor, I was the sole Nigerian investor, I was very big on it. But the choices I have made in the last 2 years, honestly, it has changed my financial outlook, right? Because of just by virtue of making the choices of investing globally. That has just changed everything, because somehow I've protected my funds, able to generate an extra source of income in Forex, and protected me from all the whole inflation and devaluation of the Naira. And when we look at the way the Naira keeps fluctuating, honestly, guys, there's no, I'm a child of God, so I'm careful to use words that will come against my country, because I know the power of the words. But if we look at the signs, there are no signs of this thing letting down. So my advice to everyone is, the best time to plant a tree was yesterday, but the next best time is now. We might not have started it before, but now we have such beautiful properties before us. I see Crown View, but I also see the Audley House that is in the 100 ranges for people, for based on your finances. So I think it's just a great time for people to jump on whatever it is. I know a couple of people on this call have already bought. People are going into their seconds and thirds. I advise you, please go ahead, make the call. Hiren is available, great guide. There are a couple of people in the team you get to meet over the course of time, whether it's Sophia that does the mortgages or whatever it is. Just a great bunch of people in the team that would help to make it a seamless process for everyone. That's my story. I'm not going to say the number of properties I have in the UK just for my protection, but yes, I've got that. It's big time. It's big time where I spend my money now. Thank you very much, and over to you, Hiren.
Thank you very much, Uju, and thanks so much for the kind words there as well. We do have a great team, and they are here to advise, help, and actually help you in any way that we can. But most importantly, I'm always here, and it'll be me that you deal with directly on a day-to-day basis. So I'm more hands-on. So guys, based after that, so I'd like to welcome some questions and answers. Uju, do we have any questions that have been raised, and anything I can answer as well?
No question yet, but I think everybody, guys, the chat box is open. Please feel free to ask any questions. I'll read it out, and Hiren can take it. If it's me, I'm happy to answer any questions based on my experience.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. So no questions, I guess. Guys, well, look, if all of you are next to your phone, please pick up your phone and please take a picture of that QR code, or just scan your camera over that. That will take you to my page, which will have all of my contact details, my LinkedIn profile, YouTube page, how to direct message me by WhatsApp or even email me directly. And I would love to welcome any questions that anyone has, or if anybody would like to arrange a meeting with me, or alternatively, if you'd like to speak to Uju, please do speak to Uju first, and from there, please do come across. Somebody has raised
Kiran,
their...
Kiran, there's a Daya, can you put your question in the chat and I'll just read it out? Is that okay?
Yeah, you might, unfortunately, you won't be able to say anything or speak. This is because it's classed as a webinar. So, but what you can do is in the Q&A, if you could put down your question.
No, Hiran, go ahead. Once he puts it out, I'll read it.
Sorry.
You can continue. Once he puts it, I'll read it out.
No, that's fine. So I was just basically going to say that anybody who would like to arrange a meeting, please just go onto this, scan this code, and you're welcome to get in touch directly. And I'll be happy to arrange any one-to-one meetings for next week with anyone that would like to, basically. So if the question doesn't come through, I guess I'd like to thank everybody for attending today. We've had a good number of people attend, so thank you very much again for your support. And I look forward to, oh, there you go. Uju, the questions come through.
Oh, yes. No, he's asking for the recording.
Yes, so we've already recorded this, and this will be sent out to everyone that attended or who registered, and would be more than happy to get it sent out. So if you give me till maybe Monday, Tuesday, we will ensure it goes out to everyone. And then please do share it. And also, if you guys found it useful today, please do recommend me to other friends, families, and colleagues. I do a lot of my business, which Uju will tell you as well, on referrals and recommendations. It's the best way to do business. So hopefully, if you found it useful today, please do send some recommendations on. Thank you very much. Uju, are we good?
Yeah, thank you, Hiran. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everyone. Pleasure meeting everyone today.